Hey guys, today I'm back with my Not Telling Haunt review video. I was gonna put it last weekend, but I didn't have any time because I was out with my band and we were taking like band pictures at rehearsals and stuff. But I'm gonna start it today. I'm gonna try to do it on a maze to maze basis, like what maze we went on, from which maze we went on. And the first maze, because we went to the pre-scare dinner. And the first maze we went on after rope drop was we went to Evil Dead Log Ride, because usually that's a really long wait if you don't get on it first. It was I liked it because I'm a little biased. It's a little strange to review this one because I'm a big fan of Evil Dead, but the log ride never really ever turns out that great. But some of the Evil Dead stuff was really cool. Like the first hill you go up into where usually the people are sawing the logs. There's the cabin, and there's the person's head from number 1, and she's all demonic, and she's trying to pop out of the cellar. That's in there, and there's the girl getting buried out in the woods. There's a lot of stuff that happened in the movies. And at the end, it shows Ash, and he's cutting up a dead body with a chainsaw, which was it was pretty cool. I would give it about a 7 out of 10. It wasn't that great of a log ride, but it was Evil Dead, and some of the Evil Dead stuff had in there was really cool. But I don't think it was as good as Sleepy Hollow by any stretch. Then after that, we headed back over to Gypsy Camp area, and we went on Trick or Treat, and I gotta go get this. I should have had it here with me already, but I gotta go get the stuff that they give you, because I got the $15 Trick or Treat bag thing, but we got this, and we got this. Okay, and I got one more thing back here. Okay, so before you go to the maze, there's a little station. It's a little table, and they have there's a shot glass on it looking thing, and you pay your $15, and they give you your stuff, and you get the bag, which actually was a lot better than I thought it'd be. I thought it'd be like Disneyland, where they give you the little plastic bag thing, but actually it's really nice. It's kind of like a book. I would say a book bag type thing. I see people carrying books around in these types of bags. And you also get your mask. Mine's a little torn up. I haven't really taken good care of it. I should have. It's a little bent, but I got the skeleton guy. And then they put a stamp on your mask every time you get something, and then they give you it's a little wrapped up thing. It's in paper, and it says it's real glass, so don't mess with it. And when you open it up, it's a little skull shot glass, and on the back it says 40th Haunt, but it's backwards, but you can see it from the inside, which is really cool. You go through the maze. The maze is really good. The scenery was the set design was really really cool. It was kind of an old school style of Trick or Treat type thing. And you see the witch at one point, and she slams her staff down on the floor. And once she does that, everything lights up, and there's all these symbols everywhere. And you get a little show at the end. I'm just gonna spoil it, because anyone watching this probably has already gone. I know, no, I'm not going to spoil it. I'm just going to leave it. You get a little show at the end, and that's it. That's all I'm saying. So then after that, we headed over to more over Gypsy Camp area, past that, where the warehouses are, where there's End Games, Delirium, Dominion of the Dead, and there's... No, I think it's those 3 over there. We did End Games, which I think it's a good maze, but it's not really scary because the music they play in there, when they play the metal, when I went in, they were playing Children of Bodom, I think, and it's just not scary because it just makes it like it's a really fun experience if you're into like gore and you're into like heavy metal, but it's not really scary. And then we headed over to Dominion, which, if the maze back in the day was anything like this, I don't really see what the hype was about. Everyone says it's like the best maze ever. It was kind of boring. Like, the scenery was cool, but there wasn't really like there was nothing really scary in there. Like, there wasn't really any monsters, and there was like furniture coming to life, and it was like a museum pretty much. And then Delirium. Last year when I went, I think this year was better for Delirium, because last year when I went, a lot of the stuff wasn't up, like the inflatable wall, they didn't have that going. There wasn't very many monsters in there, but this year there was a lot of talent, they were all really good. The inflatable wall was up, and that was really a cool like scare gag. And at the end, they added like a new room in there, and it's really cool. It's towards the end. And then after, so Trick or Treat, I'd give it, so I forgot to put my reviews down. Trick or Treat, I'd give it like a 9. Endgames, I'd give about a 6 on a scare level, but like a 9 on an entertainment level. The Dominion, I'd give like a 5, and then Delirium, I'd give like probably an 8.5. And then after that, we headed back over to Evil Dead because when we went on it the first time, there wasn't very many monsters. There wasn't any really. There was like one talent on there, and when we came back, there was a lot more, and it was a lot more enjoyable. And after that, we headed over to we went over to Pinocchio Unstrung, and I liked this, enjoyed this maze a lot more than I thought I would, because I was afraid there was going to be a lot of props and elements from Doll Factory just left over, so they were just going to say it's like a new maze, but it was really just Doll Factory like redone. But actually it was a lot different. Storyline's pretty cool. The storyline of it is like Pinocchio didn't get his wish to become a real boy because he like lied about the Island of Pleasure or whatever, or Pleasure Island, and he didn't get his wish, and he's like 20 years old. He's like 20 years later, and he's like bound by the strings, and he's basically like a slave to the strings. He can't really do anything, and so now he's trying to kill like the Blue Fairy. The set was really cool, the scenes, and there was quite a bit of talent in here. I wasn't really scared by this one, but it was still really cool, and the talent was trying really hard. But I don't know, I wasn't really scared by Doll Factory either. I never really saw what the hype about that was. But I'd give this one about an 8 out of 10. We checked out the Haunt Museum, and it was pretty. There was some cool stuff in there. It was really interesting to go in and look at all the stuff from the past that they had props from like Camp Gonna Getcha. They had some Doll Factory props. They had some old costumes. They had like an Elvira like set thing. And they were selling like a book. It's like a history of haunt book. But so that place is cool. And then we thought about going on Terror of London, but we do that every year and it never really changes. And you know, that one's usually a really long line. And we saw the line; they were lined up like around the Mystery Lodge, so we opted out of that one. And we also opted out of Dia de los Muertos because that one's not very good at all. So after that, we headed over to Slaughterhouse and Fallout Shelter and Vir Z. Slaughterhouse was really good this year. I'm gonna be really sad to see this one go. This is a really good maze. They add to it like every year that I've been into it. If I can remember correctly, this year they added like it's a storage or it's like a shipping area where everything is like crated up. And they had a new shirt out this year, which I got. It was a Halloween Haunt shirt. It's like a sky blue, and it has the farmer on it, and he has a chainsaw in one hand, and he's holding like the head in the other. And then it's like got blood dripping from it, and at the bottom it says Farmer Willie's Barbecue, and then at the bottom it says if you love people, serve them right. And that poster's in there, and talent was really good. This one, still I'd probably give it a 9, if not a 9 to 10. I mean, it's kind of hard to decide. I'd probably give it a 10, just because this maze usually packs the punch, and it's always every year I've been in it, it's consistently good. I've never been in it when it has a down point, or it's always a good maze. And then we headed over to Fallout, which when I went in my first year, I really enjoyed. Well, the first year was here, and lately I think it's been going downhill, kind of like some other mazes. It's past its prime, but it'll probably still get one more year, or at least, because there's other mazes I feel should leave first. But I'd probably give it about a 6 or a 7. Nothing's really changed in it. It's the same thing they have every year. They don't change anything. We headed over to Virus, which, wow, I'm really disappointed by this maze. It used to be like my favorite maze in the park, because I'm really into zombies. It was like my favorite like creatures. First year I went in, I loved it. I thought it was amazing. I loved how they replicated like a city inside a maze. It's not even inside, it's outdoors. And I loved how they were able to replicate a whole town. But this year, you know, the talent, for some reason, the past years, the first year I went, it was insane. Every other year, it has just been, the talent hasn't been that great. But there are still the ones that, you know, they are doing really good. You know, it's kind of like a situation where you got the ones that aren't doing much, and then you got the ones that are like, you know, really trying to push it up. And then the carry ending at the end, it was retarded. Like, or I don't want to say retarded, but it was just not very good. I don't like how they put that in, because it just seemed kind of tacked on. It really had nothing to do with the rest of the maze. And yeah, I wasn't a big fan of it this year. Hopefully next year they can bring it back to the glory it once was. And then after that we went to Bobo's, which I'm not really a big fan of the clown mazes, but it's pretty good. I mean, I'm just not really into the whole clown thing. I mean, I'm not scared of clowns, but it's just, they're not really, that's the point, they're not really scary to me. Like, I understand that there's people that are terrified of clowns, but I'm just not one of them, so I just don't really get it. But I would give it, because the sets are really cool and the talent is really good, I'd give it like a 7.5, but that's just my opinion. This one's really hard for me to review because, you know, it is a good maze, I'm just not scared of clowns. And after that one, let's see, is there anything I'm missing? I don't think so. After that, I think we were about to leave and we had our Trapped reservation, and that was the last maze we did. I'm gonna say I think interactive mazes have become my new favorite haunt, because nothing compared to Trapped. It was by far, it's hard. That's why it was so hard for me to review this year, because the mazes were good until I went on Trapped, and then it was just like nothing mattered anymore. Like, that one just blew everything out of the water. I'm probably gonna give it its own review with spoilers, because there's so much going on in this maze. It would take me like 20 minutes. It would take me like 15-20 minutes just to describe like everything that happened in this one maze. So I would give it a 10 out of 10, definitely. But I'm gonna have a separate video with a review for that one. And that was our last maze, and we watched the Midnight Hanging, and we also did the mine ride to kill some time before the Midnight Hanging, which I was actually really surprised, because they didn't bill it as a haunt event. They didn't have it on the map or anything like everything else saying it was billed. I think the reason was there was no actors in it, and people would have been really disappointed if it was actually stated as a like haunt experience. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really interesting, because it's a story of the Green Witch, and she was like driven into the caves or the mines of Calico, and she basically enslaves the miners and is like preparing her revenge against Calico. and there's all this, like, there's basically this masks and stuff, but in the glory hole they have like the witch's like shadow, and she turns into a bat, and then like at the bottom there's like a cauldron and stuff, and it's really cool how the Green Witch stuff all ties together, and like the Midnight Witch hanging was really cool. Everyone was complaining how short it was because it was really only like a 5-minute show, and we waited like 30 minutes for it, but it was still really entertaining. It was cool because it explains why Calico is a ghost town and why there's like pretty much a haunt, because they were gonna hang the witch, and the witch was just like a regular looking person, and she turned into the Green Witch and she cursed Calico, and every Halloween or every fall they have to like show their true selves, which is like monsters, and